So I'm just lay out in nature, did a bit of meditation. I was thinking about things I've achieved, things I haven't achieved, what I've done, what I haven't done, and generally how I've done it. And it's always been a decision to, I mean, there's the old affirmation, isn't there? Burn your boats. You know, they went to war, burnt the boats, so they had to win. It was nothing as drastic as that. It was just, when I look back through my life, one of the main ones is when I joined the Marines, I knew I was going to be a bootneck. I knew I was going to join the Corps. And I knew that I had to go through training, and it was 32 weeks. It was 30 when I first applied in 2000, and then it changed to 32 later on in 2008. And I know I just had to go through the training to become a bootneck, to get my green lid, to go through that process. And there were moments when, fucking hell, I didn't want to do it. No. But I knew full well that I'd made that decision. There was no going back. There was no changing it. So when I got off the train at Livingston, week 1, day 1, it had already happened. I just had to let reality catch up. Now, there were a few blips along the way. You know, I got back drooped twice through injuries. I struggled on one of the exercises. I had a complete meltdown. I think I was like, it was my birthday or something, and I just had fucking enough of being shouted at for not filling war up or doing press ups, and I was just like, nah, I'm not interested. But those 32 weeks, obviously a bit longer with leave, like Christmas leave, Easter leave and summer leave, I passed out. I became a bootneck. But I'd already decided, probably 10 months before, that I was going to be a Marine. It was longer than that. I decided when I was 20 years old, and I eventually got my lid when I was like 28. So 8 years it took me. But actually, when I condensed it down, it was a tiny portion. It was like I decided that I was going to be that Royal Marine. I pictured myself on the train. I pictured myself doing the exercises. I pictured myself. I felt what it was like to have the lid on my head. I saw my mates pass out before me, my original troop members. And I could embody it. I could feel it. And I knew full well it was coming to me. 100%. 100% I knew it was coming. It was just a matter of, I just had to let reality catch up. And that was probably the first time I remember actually embodying something and feeling it and visualising it and it becoming true. And then my father died 2018. A few things happened. And I was pretty lonely, pretty dark. And I found a few people on YouTube, inspirational, people that pulled me out of a hole. I mean, they're international speakers, but that's why they're international speakers, because they resonate with loads of people. And I thought, wow, that's pretty amazing. And it was Jim Rohn was one of them. Your thoughts are your habits. Your habits are your actions. Your actions become who you are. So what you think about, what you do, continually becomes who you are. And it's so true. At that point, I'd moved back into brickwork, and I wanted to grow a brickwork business. I wanted to progress it. And I wanted to work for some contractors, and I told myself, I used to drive past a site. There was a site that was developing in Ulster, and I could see it coming up, and I'd made no inroads, no connections to get onto that site. But I knew it was like 350 houses. Like, I am going to work on that site, and I fucking knew I was. And within 6 months, I was on that site as a contractor, as a worker, laying bricks, dropping them down, picking them up, dropping them down, picking them up, and then a bigger contract got offered me, but I turned it down. I didn't like how the company worked, but that's a different story for a different time. And that was like the second time I remember. Also, again, when I opened a gym, Iron Mind it wasn't Iron Mind at the time. It's just an idea. It was an idea of having a gym. And I spoke to the landlord on the phone. I'd got no accounts, no books, but I was adamant that I was going to get the unit. So when I had the conversation, there was only one outcome, that he was going to give me the unit based on who I was, and the universe was going to provide. And because I was so certain, guess what? It happened. Certainty. So when you decide something, when you make sure it's going to happen, when you're sure you're going to do something and nothing else can get in the way, everything moves out of the way, or everything moves and collides into one to guide you to that place. However you look at it, it's either things move out your way if you think they're in your way, but generally they're not in your way. You're just looking at it differently, or you collapse it into a reality where you can you can create what you want. And that's a video for another time, talking about quantum physics, the string theory, that there are 28 dimensions. We exist in 3, but for everything to exist, it has to live on 28 dimensions, and that goes well behind like the complexity of what we think we can understand. We've got 5 senses we tap into, and we live in 3 dimensions, and there are many more senses, and there are many more dimensions, but it's not something I'm that well versed on speaking about at the moment, but I will be in the future. But I just want to jump on and tell you that certainty, a decision, an action, you decide what's coming, you decide what's happening. Like, if you're unsure where you're going, or you don't have a plan, someone else is going to make that plan for you. So what is it you're after? What do you want to do? What do you want to decide? What do you want help with? Because that's ultimately where we're going to go. You need to figure out who you are, what you want. And that's probably the biggest question that people don't know, is what they want. They're saying material things like, oh, I want loads of money, or I want a car, or I want loads of time. It's like, well, what would you do with that time? Because most people are that addicted to work, or that addicted to moaning, or that addicted to the habits they've already got that they're not aware of, that they can't come away from them. I've reflected, I've looked many times and thought, what do I want? And one of the main things I want, let's sit up because my fucking arm is killing. One of the main things I want is peace, and generally what we seek outside is what we seek inside, and it's peace, and that's predicted by environment. But yeah, peace is something I want. It's pretty easy to attain once you are honest with yourself and your own shit. But on a material plane, I want a nice house, a nice family home where my kids are, warm roof, room each for my kids. It's become apparent to me in the past year. Bedroom for each of my kids, somewhere they can sit and they can doss in the kitchen, doss in the lounge, their own bit of space, freedom to develop who they want to be, what they want to be, without any restrictions. Yeah, so for me, it's not material things. Oh, I'm going to get myself a new van, that's for sure, so I can put the box in the back and we can go camping and go off and do things. That'll happen. Debating whether to create a new workforce. I like construction, I like looking after people, and I like building things, but whether I want to do that, whether it's going to take away too much from what I want to do with my coaching, is something else. But yeah, relatively pretty simple for me. Just space to train, home for my kids, some peace and quiet, some good nutritious food, a few decent friends, and a van. That's all I really need. I've got a home coming up, going to be next on my list, and then yeah, it's just then sitting and embracing it. I think the bigger picture for me is ultimately my goal and my drive is to help others to access their own beliefs, get out of their own way. And I developed that when I was coaching. 10 years of coaching CrossFit has taught me massively that people are not who they think they are. They walk through the door and they tell me what their title is. They're a solicitor or a finance manager or a civil engineer, and then I get to see them do exercise, or I did get to see them do exercise, and I saw a different side to somebody. I saw some people who were delusional to the point of what they thought they could do and couldn't do currently. I'm not saying they can't do it. I saw people who were a shell of themselves, who, when you put them out in the business world, would be like dominators, but when you put them in a physical plane, ask them to do something they've never been taught without confidence, they would wilt and crumble because they're outside their comfort zone, and that was not something they were conditioned for. But I realised that people need an arm around them, they need to feel seen, heard, understood, part of something, a belonging, knowing that they could move forward. Just watching the apples fall in the background. Knowing they could move forward and become better versions. And then it came down to communication. How can you communicate with them people? Like, is it... do you resonate with them? Is there a frequency? Can you get across them? Some people I just could not communicate with. Try as I might, because they were so the word is negative, but I don't believe in negativity. I think energy is just energy, and it's wherever you sit on the wave. It's like there's no negative or or positive energy. It's just energy's energy. It doesn't know the difference. But I couldn't connect with them, because for every solution I gave them, there was a problem they would present with that. And at that point there, I realised I was wasting one of my most valuable commodities, my time, on someone who didn't actually want to change, because that was their identity, and they didn't see that they were a victim of their own success or their own failures. And that was sad, because it made me sad, because I felt that I could help anyone, and when I couldn't help that person, I realised that I need to develop different skills because I want to help everyone, or perhaps I wasn't the person to help them, or perhaps they didn't want helping. Some people just want to float around in the sea with all the lifeboats rolling around them and not jump on board. So that's where I want to go. That's what I'm going to do, is coaching. Going to get people out of their own ways and get them flying high in the sky again. It does start with a physical thing, though, I believe. Belief in your body, that your mind will, and you move your body and your mind will tell it what to do. Yeah, but this is my first little bit of long form content that I'm trying to do to explore the world. Apparently there's 8 billion of us, and if I can reach 1,000 of you, that would be amazing. If I could connect with 1,000 people, make a difference, get you to see the world differently, it would be phenomenal. I've got a broad range of skills. I will discuss anything and everything with anyone. So if you think you need, or you want, or you know of someone that will benefit from a chat, a little bit of coaching, a little bit of guidance, get them in touch with me, and I would be more than happy to help them. Yeah, so hit me up. I hope you have a beautiful Sunday. I'm just sat in the orchard in our Harvington in Evesham, where I live in the UK, and it is absolutely stunning. I'm sat under a tree by myself, and I've been reading my book, Think and Grow Rich, which is popped on now, for about an hour, and I'm just going to go and get my kids and take them swimming. So I hope you have go away, Wasp. I hope you have a beautiful Sunday and a brilliant start to the week. And again, if you want any help, you want any advice, or you know of anyone that does, don't be afraid to get in touch. It's only a question, it's only a reach out. There's always a big strong arm coming to hand around you. Alright, peace out, guys.